I am hereby calling the Airport Advisory Committee hybrid meeting for Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 to order. So to begin with, let's start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So, as you guys may know, my name is Tom Reed. I'm the chair of the Airport Advisory Committee. In addition to being able to attend in person, this meeting is being live streamed on the city's public meeting page, and staff will continue to make arrangements for the public to comment using the Zoom webinar platform. I will go over the specifics of how to join the webinar, and will give details on how the public can offer their public testimony. So I'm going to have to read a bunch of stuff here to make it legal. I apologize if you tap in before you know to do it. So, but first we're going to call a roll. And I thought that since we have some new people here, while we call a roll, why don't we just say a little bit about why don't we just say a little bit about who we are and what your interest is in the airport or in aviation. So I'll go ahead and start. My name is Tom Reed. I have been involved in aviation here for 30 years. I learned to fly here and I keep my airplanes here. Director Rubio.
Yeah, so I've been with the city for about 3 years, Jorge Rubio. I do have a lot of experience managing airports within California and outside of California. And I'm just happy to be here with all of you.
Happy to have you, David Reed.
I'm David Reed, program manager for the city. Been here for 2 years. I've worked in a few airports up the coast here in California and back in Kansas.
Thank you. Charlie.
Charlie Broadbent. I'm the airport manager at Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. Been with the city about 6.5 years. Started flying here about 13 years ago, and happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Andy Schwartz. I'm the airport manager at Brownfield. I've been with the city at airports for 15 years.
Thank you. Richard.
Hi, I'm Richard Brock. I'm a community representative from District 7. I live right over here in Sierra Mesa, and I'm here to work with the airport, learn about the airport, and hear community concerns to make sure that we're all working together to advance the airport's mission, but also be good neighbors for the community.
Thank you. I skipped you. You want to say?
Oh, no problem. Asa Charles with the city of San Diego for 15 years and been doing leases and real estate for all the time.
Thank you. I see you back there.
I'm Debbie Schreiber. I'm a property agent for both Brownfield and Airport.
Okay.
Problem calls.
Michael.
Michael Bobey, I'm representing the community here in Santa, and been a private pilot since 1994. Got my ticket here. Been in this club and another club, and I'm interested.
Thank you. Mr. Aldrich.
I'm Jim Aldrich, represent the West Seat in Brownfield.
Dave Gordon.
I'm Dave Gordon. I've been hanging around the circle for most years. Several airplanes here, most of the plus one, all the plus ones, the LPA, supporting volunteer for the circle. Shut us down. The open this isn't real interesting in this right now. But just hang out there.
Gary List, I hang out down at Brownfield. I'm a member of EAA Chapter 14. We lease some property down there and have a few hangars. So I'm here to hear what's going on in the general airport business and especially Brownfield.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom Ricotta. I operate San Diego Jet Center for the last 20 years.
Hi, Chuck McGill. I've been based here since 1982, and I represent the Montgomery Field Users Group.
All right, thank you very much. So we will consider a roll call.
You just call Frank Santana.
Sure, absolutely. Frank Santana, the airport pilot. wants to talk with, by all means. Anybody else want to introduce themselves while we're going around? Okay. Let's see. I've got to read some stuff here. I apologize. If you are in person, please complete the speaker slip located at the entrance of the southwest entrance and place it on top of the box indicated at the speaker's left hand at the front of the room. Please do so in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. In-person testimony will conclude before virtual testimony begins. Members of the public can also join the webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone by accessing the link which is listed online in the preamble language of the agenda. If you need to participate by telephone, you may dial 1-669-254-5252. Webinar ID 160-344-9420 #. This information is also available on the agenda. Please note that if you're watching via online, there may be a delay. Please participate via the audio on your phone and mute your TV or computer when it's your turn to speak. If you wish to speak on a particular item, wait for that item to be called and then raise your hand to speak by tapping the raise your hand icon, or if you are a call-in participant, star 9 on your cell phone or landline. You raise your hand during non-comment period.
Tower in the state of California. The first one is Venice, but we're in Chennai, so we'll be busy. So we're talking about 300 operations. Montgomery Gibbs was recently elevated to a level 9 tower due to the operations that happen here and the complexity of the airspace. What that means is basically that the FAA took a look at this airport, took a look at the airspace, took a look at the operations, and they decided that we're complex enough so that the employees that work there will, if they haven't yet, actually get a salary increase. Not only that, but instead of having 13 controllers working for the tower, there will be a total of 19 controllers now. So there's an increase of 6. And just wanted to let you know that we're not looking to get 6 controllers right away because of the complexity of the airspace. So it's not a recent graduate that's just coming off controller school to get a job. It actually needs to be somebody who has worked at a complex tower that is actually upgraded. So somebody needs to hop onto an eligibility list in order to be considered to work at Montgomery Gibbs. And according to the air traffic manager at Montgomery Gibbs, it was said that about 2 every 5 months would be able to come on board. So again, they're looking to add a total of 6, but with 19, I think the staffing needs are going to be met. So the recommendation from staff at this point is that we do not provide obviously the letter of support. With the tower, we're able to identify other opportunities that we may be able to work together, maybe in the future. We have to talk to our legislative bodies, elected officials, and FAA regarding the control tower, its age. Maybe we, in the future, write a letter of support or support them in trying to actually getting a new structure that would be a little more modern as to down to what it is there today. So that's my staff report, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I heard that too, and I've also heard new voices out there, which is really nice. The new guy, he's good.
Who will be sending this? It's coming from the city.
We decided not to send the letters. Oh, we don't need to because they've gotten funding for 6 more guys.
Yeah, I may be there a month or 2 that day here, but the last I heard, they've got the funding, they've got the authorization for the initial employees. But the FAA was doing nothing about hiring employees. Last time I spoke to, it's been like I said, a couple months ago. They would have, it was 10 or 11 controllers you're supposed to have.
There's definitely that training aspect to that.
And the training takes them for a brand new controller more than a year, even for a seasoned controller coming to the tower, it takes, I believe, 6 months. So we're and if anybody inquired, they've had to shut down the tower numerous times. They've actually shut the tower down. Middle of the day, just completely to control airport. It's going to be a safety
we've actually, staff, Charlie, David and myself, we went up to the control tower about probably 3 weeks ago, but after the next AAC, because we wanted to find out what was going on. And we were told that they actually were thankful that they have the ability to fire those down. But again, it's just a matter of the pool that they have to bring people in from. And something that they told me is actually, you have the towers such as San Diego International, Santa Ana, Joint Airport, Long Beach, Burbank. All of those airports are larger airports, commercial airports, but the towers are not as complex as the airspace that we have here. So that's why it's taking a little longer time. So, but they have the ability to do it now. They're going to do it slowly.
At the end of July, when I was Oshkosh, I talked to Mark Baker and some officials of the rail, but trying to get their support, still working. They said it's a critical problem for the country, especially in California. There's no airports in California that are just as bad, shutting down all of the park traffic. It's just, you know, it's some reason the entire airport can't seem to do that.
Okay, so any more discussion on this matter?
Can I get, can I get a clarification again on the number of stores you're gonna have at Brown and here?
At Brown, I'm not really sure how many there are. Do you know how many controllers are at Brown?
I think currently there's 3 or 4. I think total it's either 4 or 5.
So what I can tell you is Brown is a different type of tower as to what we have here. This one is an FAA controlled operated tower. At Brownfield, you have an operator that is Circle. And at the moment, there is a bill circulating out, and I can give you more specifics, but there's a bill circulating out so that retirees from the FAA and from the DOD, those ages can be extended so that the pool is larger for contract towers. And that's something actually that I am in communication with our offices that deal with federal affairs.
How many are gonna be here?
Here, there will be 19. There's a total of 19. There's a total of 13.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's go with item 7D, options for development of portions of vacant lot 14.
Tom, if I may just real quick, I just want to let everyone know we're back online in the middle of what Jorge was discussing, we're back online. So if you want to go back to any point, anything else.
So does anybody online have public comment about the approval of the minutes? And did Ronald want to cast a vote, yea or nay, or abstain?
Ron's not on. We do have one attendee, and I do not see a hand raised.
Okay.
For the minutes.
The other, what's the other?
I think not.
Public comment. Oh, any public, just in general public comment.
Non-agenda public comment.
Okay. All right.
Anyone
if anybody services and raises their hand, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Where will we? 7B, options for development of the portions of vacant lot 14 between Glen H. Curtis Road and 4 Points by Sheriff. Director Rubio, please proceed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let me see if this works now.
A little out of order.
Okay, so this is the item that we were bringing to you at your request during the previous meeting. The land that we have available between Glen Curtis Road and the hotel, obviously it's vacant land. It hasn't been developed, and we're looking at the options as to what is it that we can do with it. For those who do not know where the area is, obviously it's this parcel over here in this light blue teal type of color. It's a total of 17 acres that we're talking about. In this diagram, you can see that our approved airport layout plan calls for rows of hangars, north to south, a row east to west, and a couple of tie downs. To give you a little bit of idea as to what we're dealing with right now, Montgomery Gibbs, as I said, is the second airport busiest in California general aviation. It's the 6th busiest general aviation airport in the nation. We have about 450 aircraft based at this airport. We have the largest flying club based at this airport, which is about 2,000 members. We have 144 pilots that are waiting to rent city hangars. And we have 86 pilots waiting to purchase hangars that become available. So it's a substantial number, as you can see, about 200 plus people. The airport master plan preferred alternative calls that the land is to be developed between 6 to 10 years. Now, it wasn't really specific as to 6 to 10 from where, but what I can tell from when, but what I can tell you is the contract for the master plan is started in January 2017. The airport layout plan was approved in December of 2019. And this is kind of where that is. And there's also another area that talks about the construction of hangars, and it's about 20 of them. And that area is kind of like north of the Spiders hangar. So if we look at the number of hangars that are to be developed, there's about 60 hangars and 24 tie downs on the previous diagram that I showed you. What are the opportunities? Obviously, increased aeronautical services, probably more fuel is to be sold, more revenue. RFUs are going to be happier because they can provide additional services. And most importantly, not only the airport layout plan will be completed, but we'll get happier users because they're looking for that space. So those are the opportunities that I was able to identify. And obviously, this is open to discussion. Some of the challenges that we have, the airport master plan for Montgomery Gibbs is not finalized yet. We still need to complete the environmental impact report. And David later on is going to be talking about an item that is here for your recommendation to go to City Council. But we're looking at a completion date of mid-2023. So if you look at 2017 to 2023, that's about 7 years. So it is within that initial range. So in the diagram that I showed you, I'm going to go back again. It shows you the ultimate development. You can see a dash line coming down perpendicularly. So there's this triangle that is still in possession of the hotel. We've been looking to get that parcel, but still in the possession of the hotel. So if you really look at it, it's about 15 acres that we have available at the moment. The vacant land is environmentally protected. That's why we decided to hire a biologist again. We need to move through those processes. So we need to get CEQA on it. We need to get NEPA. NEPA itself is at least a 1 year endeavor. And CEQA, it depends as to what is found there, could be a year or two. One of the biggest issues that we've been seeing when we're trying to develop land, city land, is that the FAA would not allow for mitigation land to be set up on site. So they, for wildlife issues, we don't want birds, we don't want anything that could attract birds. So basically for Montgomery Gibbs, what they're saying is you need to go off-site and you need to purchase land to mitigate for that land that is here. So that's an issue that we need to deal with. We will be coordinating with Frank a little bit more on that, trying to figure out how much, how that will be. At the moment, we have some land that we're trying to still mitigate for. The FAA had a project a couple of years ago with the localizer, and we still owe some land to the FAA. I mean, we still need to set up a mitigation site off the airport. And when we believe that some land was going to become available, the person or the company that was selling the land actually moved the cost to a few $1 million versus the few $100,000 that he wanted. So it's an issue because land is scarce in San Diego. So just wanted to give you our perspective on that. The project cost, you're not able to see that here, but based on my previous history developing airport hangars, if you look at the small T hangars that we had back in the day, in the 1980s, when the DMV allowed these hangars to be placed at airports, there were no really regulations. They were non-conforming hangars. They were able just to be put on site, and that was it. Now the situation has changed, so anything that is placed at our airports, they need to go through DSD and get the proper development code permits. And really, what we're dealing with is a fact that if we are to build new hangars at the airport, they may not be as affordable as the ones that we have at the moment. I'll give you an example. At Camarillo Airport, I worked there for 13 years, and the vision before I got there was that the county was going to be building hangars. I gotta tell you that over there, everything was set up so that the FAA would at least help with some of the infrastructure costs, because the airport is not as developed as here. Here at our airports, we have 3 runways, we have multiple taxiways, we have a ramp that we were trying to fix. It would be really hard to have the FAA pay for some of the ramp and utility infrastructure needs. But up there, even if we put that aside, the construction to build the hangars themselves, it was a project to build about 103 phases of 3 phases. The infrastructure was installed at the beginning. We decided to build 40 hangars, about 40 hangars initially, and the cost was about over $10 million to do that. So we excluded the FAA costs, and in order for us to rent the hangars, we actually went from about 10 cents per square foot per month to about 54 cents per square foot per month. And the recoup on investment was over 25 years. So that's something that I just wanted to put into perspective. So if we're looking to develop here, and if we need to buy parcels outside the airport, that just adds to the construction cost. So the hangar project, again, the project will include environmental. We talked about the mitigation land. We talked about the ramp and infrastructure that needs to go in. The hangars need to be permitted, fire, wind, seismic, etc. The utilities that will be needed today, electricity, stormwater, maybe infiltration systems. Those are underwater cisterns. I'm not sure if that would be needed here, but that's what I've dealt with before, and sewer. Additionally, the city just adopted the climate action plan, and something that is called, David is having fun with it. Right now it's called ZEMBO, where all facilities need to provide for solar. They need to be independently CO2 free, basically. It hasn't been fully adopted yet, but the city is going through that process right now. So that would put a little more of a price tag on the cost. But based on the project that we had at Camarillo, it's going to be more, but it was about $10 million for that portion. For about 40 hangars, plus the infrastructure for about 100 hangars.
These are hangars that would be rented
by
the city. The city owns them, but the city rents them.
Correct. So what does that leave us with? City versus private development. So the city, again, we have needs on the airfield, so it's unlikely that the FAA would pay for that. We can try. I'm not saying they will say no, but it's highly unlikely. The city would definitely pay for the vertical construction. Other municipalities are actually going through private entities in order to avoid these high costs. And I can tell you from Camarillo, just going through the 40 hangars, they're not looking to do that again. It's hard to get a return on investment, and obviously the hangar rates would be high, because you need to be able to explain what you're doing. And then if we go through an RFP process, yes, you may be able to build it faster. Obviously, the investment comes from the pockets of the FPO, the firm that's going to do that. The developer may need not only to provide for hangars in order to make it financially viable for them or to get financing, but they may need to provide other services. And as you know, we have 4 FPOs on the field basically at the moment. I mean, we're going to be building a helicopter FBO, we have Crown Air, we have Coast, we have MOF properties, and this will be potentially a fifth if one of the four actually bid for it. And again, the hangar rates will potentially be high as well. So that's basically what we're dealing with. I just wanted to show you what the reality is. We could work on putting an RFP together, thinking about how the project could happen. But if it is new infrastructure, the cost may be a little bit higher. That's what I can tell you. So I wanted to give you that information. Willing to take your feedback. Again, the master plan hasn't been done yet. None of the environmental impact reports have gone through yet. There's no public notice that has gone out yet. So we need to complete that process and get the master plans adopted by council. If you ask me, in order to do something like this, again, it's really, I think it's something that we might need to follow, but we can take this item separately if you really want to and go on its course. But it will need its own environmental, its own everything. So that's my report.
All right, thank you, Director Rubio. Does anybody have any questions about the report? Okay, let's move on to item 7C.
I think we should probably comment.
Is there any public comment on this from the season here?
No public comment on
No
this.
public comment, thank you. Okay, item 7C, receive and file a presentation by Ken Cassidy regarding the proposed relocation of United Airlines terminal hangars to executive airport. Mr. Cassidy, please take it.
Thank you, Ron. I want to thank Mr. Rubio for his help to date in understanding the process. And I also want to put the group on notice the moment I could stand down on the request. And I'm working with the airport authority on, they have to be satisfied that that building is well taken care of in perpetuity, as they say. So we're working on that and working on getting the language together. So I appreciate the opportunity to date, and I'll be back when we get a little more clarity on how to do it.
Thank you very much. Ray, did you also have something to say about this?
I don't know how familiar everyone is with the project. This hangar that Ken's been working on is almost 100-year-old building. It's just amazing how it's a super cool building. It would be by far the neatest thing to come to this airport as far as like a landmark. So we at Executive Airport we support, we have a space to the hangar to put. So we're working, I guess, in conjunction with what Ken's doing. Yeah, I don't know if we can share it. But anyway, we want the project to happen because we think it would be a shame for the city of San Diego to have this really cool building be reconstructed down at the airport in some corner that will never be seen by the public. That's what's kind of potentially where it sits right now is that building. They have a requirement to have it rebuilt, but to have it just in some corner that's not seen, used, or appreciated by the public seems like a shame. It's probably the only historical real aviation asset, maybe other than the spider. We're in complete support. So whatever Kent's doing, he's been talking to us as far as making sure the land that we have for it. I just want to make sure the committee did that part of it.
Thank you very much, Ray. And I'd like to just kind of read back this, like I've read back my copy here to make sure I understand what's going on. So the big picture is there is a historic United Airlines terminal down at San Diego Lindbergh Field that had to be moved for the terminal expansion, but it is a historical building. And so the Port Authority dismantled it very carefully and has provided funds theoretically for its reconstruction and rebuilding somewhere. And the offer was floated out that we could put it up here at Montgomery Field, because if they put it up down at San Diego Lindbergh, it'll be behind the barbed wire fence. It won't be available to the public, it won't be visible, it'll be used for something like storage. It's a giant waste, And so I know I personally support Ray, Kent Cassidy. I encourage all of you to support them in their efforts to let's change the Port Authority's mind. Let's not have put it behind a barbed wire fence down there. Let's get it up here. It'll be a incredible feather in our cap. And so we can name it the Jorge Rubio honorary angle. We could have a plaque with everybody's names on it to help it out. But I mean, I'd personally go down there and truck up a window at a time to get it up here. I'd love to do it. But
They had 2 engineers on staff for multiple years, just working on the deconstruction and plans for reconstruction. It'll be a significant rebuild for the building. It's a super building.
yeah, it would be really, really, really cool. Hey, look who's here, Joel. Good to see you. Our MYF Tower Controller representative has arrived. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you showing up today.
Oh, thanks.
You guys,
I was super busy.
So, before we jump over there, does anybody have any comment on item 7C? Do we have any online comment?
Don't see any from the public, and no one from committee.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump backwards in time to Joel, so you can present your 8-tower ATC.
All right.
Report.
Did Jorge or Charles, did they cover anything?
We spoke about the fact that you guys did obtain funding for more employees, right?
Not funding, more for controllers. Yeah.
Controllers. Okay.
So,
and that we understood that there 13 is going to 19.
yep.
And the challenge is finding these guys.
Yep.
And you have one new guy, right?
We actually have 2 new guys. They're going through a training process right now. Training process takes about a year to year and a half. So it's gonna, it's gonna take time to fill in 19, to get up to 19. It's gonna be a multi-year effort to get to where our staff needs to be, so we can provide the services of the public here. So in the meantime, you guys will notice we're limiting services, especially touching those during busy hours, peak hours, and practice approaches into Montgomery.
What's the best time for somebody to come out here if they want to be on non-peak time?
The mornings,
Early in the morning?
early in the morning, or later towards that night.
Okay.
So
Mornings and evenings.
yeah, so essentially when we open up at 6 to 9 is our non-peak time. And then I say 6 to 10, because around 10, that's when flight school revs up, +1 revs up, everybody just wants to come out around 10, and that goes all the way till, I say, 5:36, when sunset starts setting. That's when chapter starts dying down. But non-peak hours, I say 6 to 10, and then from 6 to 9. Okay. Towards the later part of the day. That's if you guys want the full service. Because right now we are short. Minimum we have. Ideally, we like to have 8 for the day. That's our minimum. But we could only staff 6 for the day, so we're already too short. And depending on what's going on in people's life, generally we might have 5. But on average right now, it's been 4.5. So it's a lot of traffic for those controllers to control, but we're putting in safety mitigation where it protects them and also the pilots. So that's why we have reduced services at certain times of the day. So, yes.
So, a couple months ago, I got an update from John McCarr, I know he's running more. Back then, I think he had 10 controllers. Are we at still at 10? Not counting the trainings. Trainings don't really end.
And so when John left, that bus is at 9 physical controllers of traffic. We have, you know, we're open 15 hours for the day. You know, we can't cover 15 hours.
So
10 days.
So where are you at? Where are you at now? 9 or more?
No, we're at 9. We're at 9 CPCs, but you know, 1 or 2 will be on their days off. You know,
Yeah.
So with other training requirements, you know, it's hard pressed for us to put people up in the tower right now. So, but our numbers have finally changed from 13 to 19. You know, it's you know, when we started noticing that might need more bodies a couple years ago, so we started putting the request in, gathering data, and submitting the paperwork, and because of COVID, it kind of delayed some of the process, the timelines. Certain things got to be done by, so it finally got approved, and so
we got approved for 19, but we're not able to hear that yet.
we're 10 controllers short.
Yeah.
So
You're at
where it
9,
needs to be.
and then you got the 2 new trainees, but that's going to take what, a year or something.
Yeah. So it's you know, luckily when we do pick up, we'll pick up experienced controllers instead of controllers straight out at the academy or off the street. They usually take longer to get checked out, and also coming here is doing an injustice for them because we're just throwing them into the fire and say, okay, see if you survive. You know, so we're looking for experienced controllers. So, and because the cost of living in California is so high, not a lot of controllers around the around the nation wants to come work in California because of the cost of living. So it's difficult, but it's you know, it's not impossible.
So we had something on the agenda just a little bit earlier about writing a letter to support your increasing your staff. And our decision was probably don't need that now because you've already got. But would it help? Should you do something like that? Or?
Well, you know, I just like I explained to Lori, you know, I have certain things I can do, I can't do, and what I could ask for. All this stuff, you know, is on you guys. You know, one thing I know for sure, you know, I'm always advocating for is, you know, tower replacement. You know, the air traffic control facilities, what, 1960 or 64? Was that very modern? Yes. It does need a lot of maintenance. It falls apart, you know, and it can support 19 controllers and plus management, plus our maintenance guys. And so we're going to run out of space in the tower eventually. So I'm in the process of requesting, you know, upgrading to the tower, either a new base building or a new tower.
So a letter of support supporting that might be more useful to you.
Yeah, and equipment, but Scott Peters, the representative for this area, did a site tour not too long ago, and the union invited them. I didn't, so I can't. But they pretty much explained what they need, you know. But it's not just you got, and you know, also you guys got. Montgomery isn't unique. when it comes to, getting, equipment, personnel or funding is nationally. It's just, we need more funding. The FAA needs more funding in general, for all the improvements that needs to be done throughout the mass, not just Montgomery, but throughout the mass.
You were here earlier, but I brought up that, kind of the, but airports were volunteering. I brought it up to Mark Baker and the other upstate, you said we get some sort of improving that. So that's what I talked to Jim. The answer I got from Mark Baker was, it's not just us, it's
Yeah. Like I said, Montgomery's not unique in the sense of funding, staffing, and facility wise, but we are a busy airfield.
Is there anything we as users can help you guys? I mean, I know that I know something like myself and a lot of the other CFIs. We don't do pattern work with students here. I noticed a lot of places are still having.
No,
would it be helpful if we could talk to them?
No, you don't mind that. It's just that we always harp on, radio efficacy. Reading back, home instructions, mainly on the frequency when in between the parallels, and doing your due diligence. Even for itinerant pilots to come into Montgomery, going on to the San Diego County website or the city website, looking at the VFR pattern in reporting points, looking at the layout, and doing your typical pilot pre-check before coming into Montgomery, because we deal with a lot of unfamiliar transit pilots that are just clueless.
Yeah,
and that's
I've personally seen that out there.
They're clueless about the airspace and clueless about the airfield. Yeah. And it's in our eyes, it seems like it's just checking a box thing, get in the plane, come here, okay, we'll just help them guide them in, get them wherever, we're too busy for that now. Back then, yes. Now it is to give that level of service to everyone, that would just slow down everything, just make it unsafe too at the same time. So I'm a very big advocate for pilot outreach, trying to inform not just local, but itinerant pilots from the past. Say, hey, do your research. Do your research before you go into to another space, another airport. Because ultimately you will help yourself out and you'll help that entire group out. So, for instance, me and Charles talked today about taxable ethic. I don't know, was it you or was it Charles that saying they were having an issue with the taxiway echo?
Yeah, I think we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Prematurely brought that up. But just briefly on taxiway echo, we have an issue with transit and some local pilots getting confused where to get off of echo. It is you're gonna have to go a little hard, more than a 90-degree turn to get onto echo. Some people are clueless about that. So that's a prime example right there. Do your research, So
okay, yeah, I can push that out. Do your research.
Yeah, it's like I said, the first transmission, get everything out,
Hey, we can get that in.
Yeah, another thing we'll do, if we could get something on the city website that kind of gives a briefing to pilots about the entry and exits and protocol for this airport. And then possibly get a blurb in the AFD that tells transient pilots that are from this area We'll take a look at the
That's
situation.
great. You know who would be very helpful to you? One of them using is Bob Turner.
Okay, then Rich Martin.
Yeah, Rich Martin, excellent. I can't go a meeting without saying this. You guys rock. You're rock stars up there. You are the best tower controllers on the planet. I can't believe it when we're up there with the slow airplanes, there's fast airplanes, there's lots of airplanes, there's student pilots, and there's helicopters, and you guys just are like symphony conductors.
Well, thanks, I mean, we try to make it easy for you guys.
We really appreciate it.
So, just so you, let the committee member know, we just, finalized our helicopter LOA not too long ago. She's been in effect or will go in effect soon. Making the helicopter operation more, standardized, coming in and out. So, it's gonna make it a lot safer.
Okay, so excellent. Yeah, we're trying to spread the word to everybody that is about do not make an return unless you can clear to do so. Turn off. So, okay, well, we are already on item number 8, which is Taxiway Echo. So, Director Rubio, please proceed.
May I request something actually, Mr. Chair? Mr. Reed is trying to complete one agenda item that needs to be documented for council. So can I request that the item is actually the action item that we passed by earlier? Sure. And he presents on it. And then we can, Charlie can take over the computer and Mr. Reed can fix his program.
Okay, thank you for that. Unfortunately, the technical difficulties threw us into a bit of a mess there. So the item I'm presenting is a recommendation that City Council approve an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the designee to execute the third amendment, the consultant agreement with CNS Engineering related to our airport master plan. A brief overview, as Deputy Director Jorge had already noted, in January 2017 is when this master planning process started, when the original contract was put in place with CNS. The first amendment came in 2018. This was to establish the program EIRs. There was an additional $600,000 allocated to the contract to begin those efforts. And then in 2021, the second amendment was put into place in order to update the EIRs in order to incorporate city comments along with other comments, make sure that we're capturing everything and all the current new regulations. What we're asking for now is an extension to the term of the agreement. So the agreement is set to expire in November of 2023. We are trying to extend it out, ended November of 2022. We're trying to extend it to December 2023. This is in order to allow enough time to properly update all the program EIRs and technical reports associated with them to make sure we're in compliance and have everything incorporated. This wasn't completed in time with the second amendment due to some contracting issues with the contractor along with the city. It took us an additional 5 months after council approved the amendment in order to actually execute the contract due to some insurance certification issues, along with some sub-consultants change in ownership, which made it difficult to track down certain contracting and insurance information from sub-consultants. So that's why I took the additional time. So our request is for you to recommend that we remove this to City Council in order to extend the term to ensure enough time to complete all tasks involved.
Do you need a motion?
Yes, we need a public comment motion.
Okay. All right. Well, we will not take public comment.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It was delayed 5 months. Why would we need to give them longer than that as an extension?
So it's in order to ensure there's enough time to incorporate all the EIR changes. We also talked with the ESD. They're also experiencing a backlog of work as much as the city is. So we want to make sure there's enough buffer for them to review these EIRs after they receive them from the consultant. along with ensuring enough time to where if we run into any of the same issues executing the contract on the back end, that we have enough time. We expect the work to be done by mid-2023, but we're adding that buffer in case there's any other issues or any other type of comments that may come up during those review processes.
Well, it seems to me they've never met a deadline yet. So I don't really understand why you don't hold their feet to the fire, including the city. The city is as much as fault as the contractor, from what I understand. But if you just keep giving them more and more time, are we ever going to finish? I know you don't know the answer to that, David. And I know you weren't here when all this started. But some of us were, most of us were. And most of us were on that committee back in 2017. And if you just keep giving people more and more time, they seem to never get the job done. So personally, I'm not in favor of extending that contract that long. But that's just my opinion.
I can tell you, working with the contractor, they want to get this done as quickly as possible. They also understand the frustration, not only by committee members' parts, but also on our part, and not getting some of these things done. We feel like we're on the precipice of wrapping this up, and we believe this will be the last amendment needed to this, because we're literally just incorporating the city's comments and other comments into these EIRs to basically wrap everything up.
Just one thing that I wanted to add is there were some staffing changes as well within the contractor itself, also within the sub-consultants, so that threw a wrench into this, and also the fact that we had those insurance type issues. So it took us extra time to get that done. At the moment, the consultant is actually working on that. We actually are, like you said, holding their feet to the fire. We're having meetings with them every 2 weeks to look at the progress. And what I have requested from them is that they give us a monthly report so that we can include that in the staff reports that we provide to you, so you can actually see yourselves what the status is.
Any other comments?
I was just gonna say, obviously, 1 year is enough, and there should be like an option for extra 90 days of or something like that.
So we are. Last time we took this item, actually, we thought we had enough time, and obviously we went through the contract in June. What we're thinking now is that those additional 6 months are actually extra bumper that we really need right now. Remember, we have to go through the public comment period again for the public environmental review. So there will be public meetings. We will have to take this item to the Land Use and Council Committee. We have to take that item again through this body with when the items are basically completed, and then we need final adoption by City Council. And that process alone takes probably 2 or 3 months. So I think the time is appropriate, but that's my master plan for the master plan.
Okay. My comment is only that I worked with CNS on 2 different occasions, and I've always been very impressed with CNS. And I had to guess there was a problem with getting something done with the bureaucracy and the time periods of public comment and all that stuff to go along with it, and not through CNS itself. But if you haven't seen that, so this is a go, it hasn't been pretty long.
Yeah, and that's largely been our experience. There have been a few issues here and there, but whatever company you work with, you run into those from time to time. That's what they were saying, staff changes. There's some updating to that, along with us relatively being new to the city.
Okay, so folks, we're looking for a motion that says that we approve an ordinance for a third contract amendment with CNS engineers to extend the term to December 31st, 2020. We have a second? Okay, no second. All right, we have any comment on that? Dave?
I just that's extending it more than a year. So is there any option to be able to change motion?
Well, here's how that would work. I'm going to call for the vote on this. If you don't want to give them a have some time, vote no to this, then make another amendment saying that you want, and we'll vote on that again. So, you understand what we're doing here? So there's been a motion made, a motion seconded on giving it until December 31st of 2000. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all opposed? 1, 2, 3. All abstained? Abstained, okay. What is on?
Ron, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, lost you for a second. Yes, in favor.
This vote is yes. Okay, so motion carries. All right. Moving right along. Thank you. We have to item number 8 reports, right? 8. Taxiway.
Yeah, so we have next meeting.
Okay, the 18th, so yeah, Taxiway. Now we can talk about Taxiway, right? Yes. Okay.
Okay, so I was asked to do a quick update on Taxiway Echo. There was a little bit of confusion there recently. So there was a faded Taxiway Echo signage. It was recently replaced. It's the same sign basically. It's just not faded. The arrow is not pointing 90 degrees to the left on the 2-8 right. It's kind of a head into the left, pointing to Taxiway Echo. It is a complicated intersection there. Per the FAA, aircraft should not turn onto a runway unless instructed to by ATC. So basically, the confusion is that when 2-3 is active, you can see where Echo is, and you have to cross over runway 2-8 right to get to Taxiway Echo. Basically, this is the routing. If you're on runway 2-3, you would see the signage for runway 2-3 and 2-8 right and 10 left first. And then there is that signage for Echo right there. It's pointing kind of across the runway and to the left, and then that green, and then you cross runway 10 left, 2-8 right, and then you'll see another sign for Taxiway Echo and the mic signage there. And basically, this was a video, but I'm not sure that it's going to work there. It doesn't look like it's going to work there.
I think we can skip the video.
Well, let's skip the video there, but that was basically kind of what it would look like there as they're holding short of runway 2-8 right on 2-3 and the Echo sign. It is kind of confusing. You can see in the distance there that the Taxiway Echo sign is there. But basically, right now, the Taxiway Echo design options per the FAA design standards, Taxiway Echo pavement is slated to be removed actually on the airport layout plan. Due to the high number of operations, the NYF Air Traffic Control Tower and the airport administration are requesting to keep Taxiway Echo as a runway exit taxiway. But some of the options are basically to, one, delete Taxiway Echo pavement, which is not ideal. It would make it a little bit more congested there in the capacity and delay. Keep the Taxiway Echo as it is and become familiar with the signage and location via the airport diagram, or look into additional signage and markings for that area. So is there any questions or comments regarding that area and what we've talked about here?
Well, Joy can probably answer this question. Do you find that there has been a problem with people passing on 2-2, what would be 10 left when they see the sign that says Echo and then angled? Do they do that? Yes. Okay, all the time. Okay, yeah. So this is something that probably that bottom line and to look into additional signage, that's probably the best thing to do in my opinion.
I agree, the idea of deleting the taxiway is not,
That's
I don't, I don't think that's a good option. Echo is important in operations, I do agree. So you can be off that echo was Jackson, which part of
So could we just make a statement that we approve the third bullet point there, look into additional signage? We encourage you to do that. Turn it over to you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we'll definitely look into that and see what additional signage we can do to clear up some of that confusion.
You agree that eliminating echo is a bad idea, right?
Right, definitely. And that's our position along with the ATC control tower or the air traffic control tower. So we're petitioning to keep it.
Good.
Director Rubin, you have staff reports in here?
Definitely.
Yeah, we do. Well, I don't know.
I got the condensed version.
Let me say, we got stop working on this, or maybe
I think it's under other reports possibly.
Informational items.
there are some.
Okay.
We skip the 8.
So we need, I was actually going to recommend that 8B, which is the watchdog, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That we discussed at another meeting, because we need to have additional discussions with the parties that.
Okay.
To be
so we've got taxiway echo, we've got the wash ride, we've got air traffic control tower reports. So now we're on the other reports. And I want you to take it away here.
It's only if you have any questions. The reports are in your packets. It's the operational and knowledge reports and project reports. And I think what you're missing is a staff report, so I guess I'll do that. Okay, I'll try to be short since this meeting is going a little bit longer. But I wanted to let you know that Executive Air Park, I see that Ray and Kelly are with us. They are continuing to make improvements to the pavement over there on the east end and between the hangars. So hopefully that alleviates some of the concerns that have been expressed at the AAC regarding the pavement and potentially fall issues. They're going to continue to fix those areas. I wanted to reiterate my appreciation for the tour of the control tower a few weeks ago. It really helped us understand the operation of the tower a little bit more. And something that came out of that also is the fact that we're going to be working, trying to incorporate some taxiing reporting spots. So if you're in an area where the tower cannot see you, you come out to a specific spot so that you can call the tower and say, like, Montgomery ground, 5360 Bravo at spot 1, ready to taxi to runway, and tell them exactly where you are, instead of trying to guess where you are and deconflict territory. So it's a model that has that is being applied at other airports. I think Prescott Airport is one of the ones that was provided as an example. So we're going to be working on that, and obviously we will be in constant communication with all of the users and tenants trying to incorporate those issues. The other item that I wanted to bring up to you is the unleaded fuel tank installation at Montgomery Gibbs keeps going through the process. I told you that our kickoff meeting will start within the next few weeks. We're still trying to schedule that meeting, but a team from Public Works came out today to take a look at the site. They also took a look at the Spiders area, taxi lane on the west end. So we're looking to do that. And they also took a look at our parking lot that hasn't been touched in a couple of years. Additionally, I wanted to mention to you that the FAA recommended me to the National Academies of Sciences, and they invited me to participate on a panel for the ACRP, which is basically the Airport Cooperative Research Program. And they will be conducting a research on how to phase out lead, or how to phase in, I would say, lead-free avgas at airports, And our first meeting is actually next week, so I'll be traveling to DC to meet with the group. I'll be leaving on Monday, coming back on Tuesday night, getting a red-eye flight, but will be good. Additionally, on October 7th, the EPA announced a proposed determination that emissions from lead, from aircraft that operate on leaded fuels, cause or contribute to air pollution that may be, and I'm reading this verbatim, reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health and welfare. So they will be putting this out for public comment, and they're looking to get everybody who has comment on this to come forward, provide it to them, and they're looking to establish or finalize this finding in 2023. So I wanted to let you know that that's what's happening. You already know who Frank is. We have a new airport administrative what we call that's a position that will be coming over and assisting me in trying to set up all of these meetings. We're trying to improve the way that we do virtual meetings. That will be helping us with payroll duties. That will be helping us with many special projects that we have at airports. Just so you know, this is not really an addition to staff. We had a payroll specialist. You probably remember Millie Moore. When she left, it gave us an opportunity to reclassify that position, so the position could do a little bit more with the limited resources that we have. So Andrea Berlanga is scheduled to start with us on Halloween, October 31st, and we look forward to working with her. Happy to answer any questions.
I like the combination of virtual and in person, so that people don't have to drive too far. They're down at Reynolds Field. Thank you very much for putting that together. Any other comments? I think we are at that. Yes, we do. So, actually, before we move on, one thing that I wanted to mention is at Brownfield, we have what's called the Metropolitan Airport project. Was scheduled to, it wasn't scheduled, has been in the works for 15 years. I wanted to let you know that we are one step closer of them actually getting to do some work. So it is expected that on October 17th, now former Metropolitan Airport, now it's San Diego Airport, that they will start doing the environmental work on October 17th at Brownfield on the mitigation land north of the field. And the hard work will start in November. And we are hoping that they're going to be breaking ground just after the first of the year. And for that, obviously, there will be a groundbreaking celebration, and we'll be inviting this family. So I just wanted to let you know that's in the works. It's taking many years, a lot of headaches, a lot of mountains to climb, but the project is about to start. And with that, Charlie.
Okay, just a few things. There were over 23,000 operations in August. There was a full airport sweep conducted. There were unfortunately 2 separate vehicle accidents on Arrow Drive that resulted in some of our perimeter fence being damaged. One of the spots is repaired already. The other one is pending repair, but that'll be repaired very soon. And lastly, there was a conditional job offer extended for the utility worker 2 position. And so we're just going through the onboarding, and so we're looking forward to having that position filled. Right, we were going to mention that if it came up, but basically, yeah, there was a fuel truck that was taken from Executive Air Park. A suspect who the cops haven't identified jumped the fence and took one of the fuel trucks, and it ended up down by Taylor Street off of the 8 freeway. And so it was recovered. There was no damage to the truck. There was no fuel taken. And the police were nice enough to escort one of Crown Air's personnel in the fuel truck back on site, and it was back fueling that morning, basically, so it could have been a lot worse. The keys were in the truck, that's gonna be corrected, they're not gonna leave the keys in the truck. Everybody always, be on the lookout. There actually was, for suspicious characters, one of their personnel, Clyde, was on site and helped a lot in recovering it so quickly and recording it and basically saw what was occurring, so that was helpful.
Charlie, so you said they didn't identify him?
They don't know who it is at this point. Yeah.
Charlie, can you address, when you might possibly see improvement in the asphalt over there on, Marigold?
Yeah, we're, on the process still of gathering some quotes, hopefully very soon. Don't have an exact date on that, but
Love to get that.
try to get that expedited.
It's like a pod.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for pushing that.
Sure.
All right. Anything else, Charlie?
That's it. Thank you.
Yes, Charlie.
Thank you.
Andy,
Just quickly, we did, actually, we're starting to see the trend where the operations start to go down. So we did about, we're down about 11% for the year in operations. We did, for last September, only last month, we did 6,006 operations. We too just had a airport sweep from the Canada City as well. They not only did an airside sweep, but also did an outside sweep. Today we had city streets out doing some patching the asphalt in the parking lot, also on Grand Street. Gate 5, as I mentioned last time, was down. It is now repaired and it's fully functional. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Appreciate you coming up.
thank you. And Enza,
Hello, everyone. Okay. So let's see here. We just got actually yesterday our appraisal on the 2 warehouses at Brownfield that we're going to be leasing those out to the San Diego Police Department to use for storage. And so we should be finalizing that MOU hopefully by the end of the week. And we're also ordered an appraisal for the vacant CBP hangar at Brownfield to determine the market rent on that. For the Montgomery field offices and the retail complex, we're still in the process of trying to get an RFP out for services for a property management company. And we just completed the MOU that transportation is taking some spaces at 8575. They currently are in 6,025 square feet at a monthly rent of $9,900 per month. Let's see here. At 8525, we have roughly a week or two until the cooling tower is delivered to be installed there. The retail center, we finished our painting for the retail center. We just got the contract to be awarded for the new sign company for all the storefronts. And the roofing project is expected to start on Monday the 17th. We currently have 6 tie downs and 1 hanger available. And what else? And we're going to be holding interviews hopefully in a couple of weeks for a vacant position for another property manager.
thank you, Mr. Chair. Happy staff is having any questions.
All right. So, any comments or questions for any of the staff reports? All right. Now, are we preparing it?
Yes, we are.
Get ready. Here we go. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Hey, Charlie.